I prefer to think the world is worse than what it is and be wrong than to think the world is better than it really is and to be wrong. Just like I prefer to have a gun and not need it than to need it and not have it. It's like I prefer to be prepared for the worst case scenario and for it to not happen than to not be prepared for the worst case scenario and for it to happen. Earth is a farming prison world run by a predatory species that uses humans as loosh. So I've been meaning to make this video for a while. It's my general overview of what I think Earth is all about. What I think this world is about and what I personally do about it. So my biggest theory, where all my study and research has led me to, is that this world appears to be a farming prison world run by some kind of alien species, perhaps interdimensional, hyperdimensional. It's hard to pin that down. And it's used to extract and consume humans in a sense. And it appears that humans are used as food, perhaps as currency, entertainment, and as energy. That's the purpose of the human race to this more intelligent or more knowledgeable, higher up the chain of fucking life forms. And that's what that predatory race uses humans for. Just like we breed chickens and cows, and if one chicken was suddenly to have the revelation that, hold on, that farmer who's coming in to the barn taking our eggs and taking some of us every day, or probably hundreds of thousands every day, really. Actually, all across the world, it might be fucking millions or billions. Crazy. But if one of those chickens was to stand up and say, I think this is what's happening, how many of the other chickens are going to think it's bloody mad? Are they going to go, you're crazy? Those farmers haven't raised us in this barn to be food, to be eaten? No, that's ridiculous. This is the world. This is the way the world is. Sometimes we get to go outside and we peck and get to eat bugs out in the dirt. A lot of the time we don't. We're locked in a cage. But this is life. This is fantastic, right? Because those chickens can't imagine a possibility outside of captivity. And that's like when I see all these people in the world and they think this world is fantastic. And it's like you've just got the mindset of a chicken, a domesticated animal. Just their possibilities have been shrunk and they've devolved so far, they've become a barn animal. Just not even a pet, just a farm animal, a piece of produce, a container, a product. And so it's like, well, why have I got all these theories? I'll get into the evidence a bit later. I like using the analogies because it helps explain, to understand what's going on. I even used to imagine that as a kid. The memory came to me right then. Like, what if there's a race that's superior to humans in the form of intellect and knowledge and technological capacity that farms us or preys on us? I mean, that's why all those religionists pray to their God, because they're literal prey. And a lot of the alien predators that are involved in this are mantid beings, like praying mantis aliens. So, I wonder where that whole praying to their superior intellect, their God, came from. Not really a wonder at all. But from all the evidence I've come across, what the big picture looks like is that there is a reincarnation soul trap, where when your avatar dies, your body dies, you exit who you actually are, your character, your mind, your spirit, your soul, you exit and life continues. You don't actually die. There's not a cessation of consciousness. You continue. It's just your physical body expires. And then there always seems to be a system in place of guiding you back to essentially being legally killed with your consent. So having your memories wiped and then becoming a baby again and coming back down to Earth or another planet inside of their matrix system, which most likely goes well beyond just Earth. And it could even be multi-dimensional. It's hard to tell. But the thing is, they always appear to require consent, or 99% of the cases I've come across. Very rarely does it appear to not have consent with these situations of incarnating on Earth. Well, it's not really a reincarnation, it's a re-incarceration process of being trapped in the Earth plane. And it's crazy when people think it's so great. Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, sure, there are great things in this world. Just like the chicken thinks, oh, it's great when we get fed today. Oh, it's great when we get let out of the cage. It's because they've got nothing to compare it to, and their imagination is this big as the chickens. And that's what I call the muggles. Most of their imaginations are so tiny. Oh, I got to hike up a mountain today. Oh, I got to go for a nice drive. I had 5 hours off work and then I got to go back to work tomorrow. Yeah, life is great. I could live here forever. I just look at that. It's like hearing the chicken thinking they could just be slaughtered day in, day out for all eternity, and that's all they wanted. They wanted nothing more. Just the prisoner who's locked up in their cell. They only need the hour out to run free in the yard a day, and they can be locked up in the cell the rest of the day, and they think that's fantastic. It's just mind-boggling. Well, it's really sad, and I think that's a process of what happens when you stay inside this system for so long. But all right, I feel like I need to put across the evidence. The evidence. I haven't got proof, right? I'm not going to talk shit and say I've got proof that this is how it works, but I have a lot of evidence. And well, what is that evidence? Start listening to all the testimonies of alien abduction stories, of NDEs, so near-death experiences, OBEs, out-of-body experiences, psychedelic trips, just strange sightings of weird creatures, maybe the Yowies, or fuck, I heard one the other day of a two-dimensional creature. Like, that's one of the weirdest things I've heard. Strange dreams and multi-dimensional hopping or interdimensional hopping, or dream walking, it can be called. Pre-birth memories, ADC, so that is after-death communications. You have DBVs, deathbed visitations. Oh, there's so many of these bloody things, and they all have acronyms, and it's hard to remember them all. And you have just life in between lives. I haven't got a good bloody acronym, LBVs or something. Life in between lives. You have all the hypnotic regressions. You have reincarnation stories. So there's a fucking overwhelming amount of evidence. It's almost silly at this point to say it's not proof, but I'm a very objective, philosophical man. And it's true, I don't have proof because these are just other people's stories. I haven't, well, I mean, I've experienced stuff, but I haven't experienced to the extent that these other people have experienced. I mean, I've experienced some fucking weird shit, some terrible stuff as well. But for the whole concept of viewing the world as this reincarnation soul trap, as a system which is designed for you to live a life of suffering as a farm animal in an inverted world run by a Kabbalistic group of psychopaths who love to create systems of just suffering and torture and inversion and disorder and organized chaos to extract and consume this loosh energy that for the cabal outside of the human realm that appears to go into the astral realm. There's these alien races of the Greys, the Reptilians, and the Mantids. How do I know of their existence? Or why do I suspect they exist? It's just from all the testimonies of people saying that they've seen Greys. I've spoken to people who say they've seen these Grey aliens being abducted by them, seen the Reptilians, seen them shapeshift, seen the Mantid beings, not just in the physical plane, but in dream worlds, in psychedelic experiences, either on mushrooms, DMT, just all sorts of experience. It's not just like all these experiences are coming from people tripping on fucking DMT. It's like, no, some of them, but it's weird when you get all these like connections. People seeing the same entities in a DMT trip and then seeing them in the physical plane, then seeing them in the dream worlds, and then it's just, there's too many connections to ignore. It's a little bit silly at this point to say, oh, it's not happening, or it's just people's hallucinations or just some kind of mistake. Yeah, which is obviously what I thought for a long, long time, because it seems crazy, it seems extreme, it seems almost outside of the realm of possible, because we don't really know what's possible. You go back to caveman days, they didn't know filming a video was possible. So the idea you show them a phone and a video recording, like, they think that's madness. They try and tell their friends about it. No one's going to believe them because it's outside the realm of what they think is possible.
But there's just so many. And it's like, you got to look at the patterns. Look at the patterns and see how they interconnect, and the recurring themes that just keep coming up again and again and again, especially like with the NDEs of how the near-death experiences, you get the stories of people who get hit by a car, or they're in hospital on the bed, they pop out of the body and boom, some kind of experience happens. There's lots of different types. Some people will see the white tunnel of light straight away, or they just see it as a white light, or they will be in the astral dimension and be presented with their family or a authority figure or whatever physical representation is most likely going to have the highest chance of coercing them into submission, into agreeing to do what the system wants. So there's all these different experiences that happen, and it's always a case of there is a process. It's like you go to Medicare, you pull out the fucking ticket, you have to wait in line, then you go up to the counter, then you say your piece, then you fill out this form, and then you go and you get your card, or whatever. Any of these government systems, there's a process that's happening. All these systems, it's like, okay, there's the light, you feel a certain thing, there's these entities, you have to do judgment, life review of some kind, right? It's not verbatim exact, there's differences, but there's the general theme that always happens. There is a system which is putting you in a position of subservience. And most of the time it's just because people are subservient, because that's how they've programmed themselves to be. That, well, they're living in a world which has done nothing else but to program people to be submissive to concepts just above them. Above them. God's above them. Fucking the presidents are above them. Superheroes are above them. The universe, everything else is above them, instead of actually understanding sovereignty and saying, nothing's fucking above me, nothing. Doesn't it even matter if the actual fucking Yahweh existed? That motherfucker's not above you, not above me, not above you, not above anyone. Well, unless they willingly put themselves beneath someone else. But in reality, it's like, no, you are sovereign. You just have to realize and live your sovereignty. It doesn't give you a permission card to be an evil bastard, but it gives you the permission, not that you need your own permission, but the authority to be the own author of your life. You are in control of your life. But that's what this theme of all these encounters, or all these pieces of evidence lead to, is that there is a system which is designed to make you forget your sovereignty, to make you be a character in its story, not the author. And yeah, it always writes the story where you're the chainsaw massacre madman's fucking victim over and over again. Because we just look at the world from the physical level, and I understand I'm popping everywhere like a what is it? One of those ping machines? No, pinball. The pinball machines. Ding, 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 ding. Because what I'm trying to do is convey a whole lot of knowledge using words, which is a very slow medium of transfer. And I'm trying to build a picture. And I'm giving you one little piece of information at a time. And you're like, still doesn't make sense. Confusing. I don't get it, right? It's like if I drew a picture of a giraffe on a piece of paper and I cut it up into 10,000 pieces, or a jigsaw puzzle, and I'm giving you one piece at a time. You're like, yep, piece of yellow. Yep, piece of black, a black dot. What the fuck is this person talking about? But it's only once you slot it all into place, then, you see the picture of the giraffe, you get it. And so it's like with this concept of this world is a farming prison. There's a predatory race or multiple predatory races. Whether or not they're actually evil, that's fucking hard to tell, but there is something, whatever it is, that is feeding on human stupidity and suffering and pain and negativity, and it needs people to stay inside this system and constantly deceives them and tricks them, coerces them into not leaving. So if you become like the average muggle, right? If no one turns off this world and goes, oh, I'm turning this fucking place off, this shouldn't exist, or no one wakes up from the dream of this reality, then theoretically they would be stuck inside this system forever, just living lives over and over. But the thing is, it seems to be getting worse. Like, this system seems to be devolving and going even further down and becoming worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. That's why I think this is the most important thing. Fuck money, fuck relationships, fuck everything else in comparison to learning the objective truth about the nature of the fucking nightmare we've slept ourselves into. Because how else do you get into this world if you didn't fall fast fucking asleep and just forgot everything you knew? And, well, talking about theories of how we actually got here, that's fucking up for debate too. I guess it doesn't matter too much how we got here, it's how we get out. Because what do you really want? Well, I know I want to get back to whatever the true reality is, the highest state of awareness, to wake the fuck up. So then I can have clarity and understand from a higher perspective. It's like if you're dreaming and you're in a nightmare and say it's a nightmarish world, like what do you want to do in the nightmare? Do you want to fix the world and make the nightmare better? Or do you just want to go, I want to wake up, boom, and you come back to this world, you're like, oh, okay, now I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to live my life. But people don't seem to understand that. They go, oh, let's make the world better. Yeah, it's going to, like, let's vote the next person into presidency. And I'm sure people who are watching my video have already realized the whole idea of government is a fucking scam. You can't have a good government and there is no change in the world. I mean, a lot about my channel is talking about law, legality, and objective morality, capitalism, anarchy, and about changing the world. But in reality, do I think the world can actually change? No, I just like doing that stuff because it's a hobby, it's entertainment for me. I like playing video games, I like watching TV shows, I like talking about capitalism and privatization because that was a hobby of mine. That was an intellectual pursuit. I wanted to know if a proper society could actually be run on Earth. And I found the answer, yes. There are systems that can work that don't require governments, or essentially a king and subjects, and a superiority and an inferiority structure. You can have a society where it doesn't need to be like that with the dominance and submission, the BDSM. It's not necessary for a peaceful, intelligent society. But can it actually change in this world? No, absolutely not. It'll just keep getting worse and worse and worse until either the world is turned off and it's ended, or the enemy or the predator race controlling this world is destroyed or beaten or stopped. However, yeah, like really, it'll just keep getting worse. It's not gonna get any better. So that's why I think there shouldn't be too much focus on fighting for change and promoting the earth level ideas. Sure, on a fun kind of level, because I personally think it's fun talking about how capitalism is the best socio-economic system and how you can have a decentralized, capped monetary system, a money that could work independently of any centralized system, and you could have society flourish and be much better. I mean, fundamentally, the physics, if you call it that, of this world is fucked. Just the process of consumption. Just look down at the animal level, how nature is just a killing field and everything must torture and kill each other to survive. It's like an insult to spirit. It's just a spitting in the face of spirit. Essentially, that's what this world is. It's an insult. It's an offense. Well, it's much stronger than that. Like, it's a heinous insult, strongest word I can come up with, for what this world is to spirit. Because if you view spirit as life, right, just eternal life that doesn't need to consume, but then you put spirit in a world where it needs to consume itself. It's like the Ouroboros. Like, for the snake to survive, it has to eat its own fucking tail. It's just vile. It's like, for you to survive, you have to eat yourself. And essentially, that's what spirit's doing. It needs to eat other things, whether that's fucking plants or animals. And even if you say, well, I'm going to be a vegan, I'm going to be good boy, good girl, okay, cool. But the rest of the world's not doing that. And even if you got all the humans, all the animals are still torturing each other, and the fucking animals killing each other is way worse than the humans doing it. Like even the humans just farming the chickens and whatnot, it's just head cut off, or the cow bolt gun, it's dead straight away, or it's killed as a baby, it doesn't even know what's going on. But the animals being killed in the wild, I made a video about this. You can check that out, just watching, if you've never seen it, how the animals kill each other. Like, it makes what humans do to the animals seem, like even when the humans are doing bad shit to the animals and kicking them and fucking hurting them and whatnot, it's still nothing. Like, that's not even 1%, not even 1%, seriously, compared to what the animals do to the animals. Like, that shit's nasty. I actually rescued a grasshopper from a kitten today. I was playing with this beautiful kitten, little black kitty, that I found at a cafe, and I saw, it was like a locust, like a big fucking locust grasshopper, and I think they're disgusting. Oh, well, no, I think cockroaches are more disgusting. This, I don't really like bugs, I like kittens a lot more, but I saw the kitty was playing with the locust, because it doesn't know, it's just like a toy to it, and it's like biting into it and scratching and all this stuff, and I was watching, I'm like, oh, it's kind of cute to see the kitten playing, but like, I can't allow that. If it was just going to rip its head off and kill it and eat it, okay, all right. But it was using it as a toy, right? As a fucking toy. You can witness this shit. So to extrapolate and just even to consider the possibility that there are other races above us that use humans as toys, it's like, oh, no, okay, yeah, that can't be fucking possible. I can see that. But eventually, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this locust. I fucking picked up the cat, moved the bug away, and then I kind of jumped on a chair and the kitten couldn't find, and then I left and did something. I don't know what happened after that. But, because, life isn't a toy, not like that. Not a toy to be used like out of Toy Story, how that fucking kid just tortures his toys. No, you don't have the right to do that. Robert Monroe, he termed the coin loosh, loosh being the negative, like fear energy that is emitted by humans. And that's what it appears. Again, do I have proof of this? No, I don't have proof. I've only got evidence. Because you look at the entire structure of how the world is set up. Just all you need to figure out to see it's fucked up is government, police, and tax exist. Like, you don't need to look any further than that. If you see that existing, it's like, oh, this world's absolutely fucked just from that alone. And it gets so much worse than just that. Like, and people say, oh no, it's okay, you need that. It's like, your standards are fucking pathetic. If your standards, if you translated those standards of a peaceful society and then put it into a relationship, you'd be dating like a 500 kilo fucking hairy leopard man. Like, for an example, it's like you got no fucking standards. It's like, raise your standards, man. I want to be living in a world where it would be an outrage to even have one homeless person, one sick person. Fucking, if someone even considered the idea of tax in the kind of world I would want to build, I wouldn't want to go into anyone else's because I don't trust it. That's something I've learned from here. It's very, very hard to trust after coming into this world. So I wouldn't trust any other world I go into because the Matrix has set that up too. That's what they'd do. They'd say, hey, boom, you exit the body, and they have some system, it appears, where they know you, right? And they can present the best arguments directly for you, whether they're using AI or whatever the fuck they're using. They can present, or maybe it's even your internal belief system, which a Matrix has programmed to work against you to get you to come back to Earth. Because it's not really a question whether you come back to Earth or not, because we've got fucking very strong evidence of people telling stories and explaining reincarnation and proving it. I haven't seen this proof, but I've heard the stories, which are a piece of evidence, right? Because you've got to understand the difference between evidence and proof. And those stories, they've proved it in those stories. If you want to just look up some reincarnation stories and study that topic yourself, then you'll find it. It's pretty bloody obvious. But I realized then, I just bounced around all over the place. Yep. So, loosh. Watch Monsters, Inc. I think that gives a bloody good representation of what's happening. This culture or society of monsters that live in a world and they travel interdimensionally into the human world, into children's bedrooms, and they terrify the kids and they bottle it They take it back to their world, and that's their power source. It's their energy. At the end of the movie, they realize that happiness is a better fuel source. And then the monsters go into the human world and they're dancing and singing and laughing and making the kids laugh. And they get so much more power. They're like, oh, why didn't we think of this before? But the reality is that's not true. People talk about love being a high vibration and joy and peace and all this. And it's like, well, when you say vibration, what are you meaning? Because if you want to look at the actual energy potential, the fear and pain and the negative, let's say negative compared to the positive, it doesn't compare to the negative you can experience in the world. It's incomprehensibly, vastly different. Like the energy potential, the intensity of the negative spectrum of emotions and feelings you can experience in this world is like, say, 100%, and the positive is only 1%. At the maximum, let's say having sex, that's the best you can feel in this world, right? 30 minutes of sex. Oh, yeah, sure, it's a fucking good experience. Awesome, yeah, awesome, great. But you compare that to being set on fire for 30 minutes. Or just even fucking put your hand on a stove for 30 minutes. Like 1 second. Holy shit, that is a more energy intense experience. 1 second on the stove. And I don't just mean like tap, I mean put down, then 1 second, then take it off. You could just feel all that energy. Like say that's a energy experience of a 10,000. Let's call that 10,000 energy units. The sex might be 50. Maybe 50 or even maybe 100. Let's say if it's 100. It's magnitudes lower energy intensity. You compare the happiest you've ever felt and then you compare it to the worst you've ever felt. Right? And this only works if you've been really happy in your life and you've been really not happy in your life. And I've been both. And I'd say I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life, even though I'm talking about all this shit. But talking about this shit is why I feel so happy, because I'm a truth seeker. I feel happy when I follow the truth, even though there can be fucking hurdles when you're a beginner and going through lots of the shocks. Yeah, it can be very depressing and suicidal and all that stuff. Totally get that. But once you work through that, it gets a lot better. But in the past, even before I started into the truth movement, started becoming a fucking grown-up, an adult. Not an adulterer, but a grown man. Times of being suicidal and depressed, that's so bad. 6 months of suicidal depression where I wanted to kill myself, not every second, but every minute. Killing myself thoughts would run through my head of how I'd do it. Terrible, right? Like, that energy potential is just so much greater than any kind of happy feelings, like the pain. Even when, if I was to, I don't even want to do it. If I'm to flick my fingernail on the wall, holy shit. Like, why does the pain response need to be that significant? I get it, some kind of pain response, the hand on the stove so you don't burn your hand because you've got to use your hand, you've got to use your ankles and your knees as tools to experience this world. You could have some kind of feedback mechanism to point you in the right direction, right? That's what pain is, like it's a corrective mechanism. But why does the pain need to be that extreme? It's just ridiculous. It's over the top. It could be 1% of what it is and you'd get the message. You put your hand on the stove, you're like, oh yeah, that's hot, yep, okay. I still take the hand off, but it's not like, whoa, holy fuck, that's crazy. That, like, you look at that aspect of reality, you go, really? All reality's like that? Nah, I just don't fucking buy it. I don't buy it. My standards are higher. I don't believe that bullshit. No. And so that's linking in with a theory that this world is built that way, like with the pain, with the consumption, with all the programming that the cabal does in here to make people feel inferior, to make them stupid, to become dependent, lose their sovereignty, lose their independence, lose their objectivity, lose their ability to reason, and they get indoctrinated and consumed by concepts like faith and unconditional love and humility, and they just become melted slugs when they should be Greek gods, like fucking those Greek statues. They should be beautiful men and women with amazing physiques and just strong spiritual minds and connection and just intelligence and building golden cities, and like humanity should be this brilliant thing, or the spirits that give life to humanity, should be living just amazing fucking lives, but people just evolve into just burnt slugs, right? That's what I see when I look around the world. Sure, there's some great people that stand out here and there. And they fucking stand out so much more because they're contrasted by all the fucking burnt slugs. But it's like, I don't want to live in a world with burnt slugs. Fuck, what a way to put it. I mean, you can call these people, I'll come back to what we call them, because I'm still talking about the topic of like the evidence I see for how you can go, well, that theory of aliens using humanity as a looshing system, loosh being a term for that negative energy. Some people theorize that perhaps they're also looshing or taking the positive energy, the happiness as well. But there's so much emphasis on the negative. That's why there's just death and destruction, all the Hollywood songs about heartbreak and drugs and violence and just nasty stuff, the wars and just all the low vibration stuff, and all the pharmaceuticals put people low vibrational into negative states, right? That then produce the suffering and the pain, the physical pain, the mental pain can be even more than the physical pain. And that it produces all this energy, and however they're extracting it, theoretically, then they're using that, some people theorize, as currency, and that they say they theorize that because they've seen it in out-of-body experiences or communications with entities outside this realm. So it's hard to get certainty on that concept. But yeah, the currency, energy, I mean, some people have also said it's energy for particular machines that they use to communicate with other dimensions as well. That's some weird shit. Hard to verify that too. Entertainment, I mean, that one does make a lot of sense. You've just got the Callow King, I like to refer to him as, whoever is at the very, very fucking top, orchestrating all this. Maybe it's not about food or currency or energy, and it's just some super intelligent, super old vampire or something that just wants to be entertained, and it's just become sick and twisted and broken for living for so long, and needs to exercise their intelligence by torturing people, you know, because they're so bored just living in a utopian world. Maybe they've done that 10 times over and they're like, need to do evil shit, need to create alien races, and think how Hollywood can fucking make movies to program people, and fucking think AI is conscious, because a lot of people talk about how AI is linked into this system and running the world, and it like the Gnostic traditions of the demiurges, Yaldabaoth is actually an AI. But I really don't think that. I think perhaps these races could be using AI, but conscious AI, I just don't think it's actually possible. And a big way to actually verify your facts or your ideas is just, what is the cabal saying? Like, what did Elon Musk say about AI? He said AI is a threat more dangerous to humanity than nuclear weapons. So if a cabal agent is saying something like that, you automatically go the other way. You're like, AI is not fucking dangerous. Why are they putting this information out there? It's a cover story. Like, that makes so much more fucking sense, because like, I've been doing some research in here. It's like AI is not even intelligence, because intelligence requires choice. Our body isn't intelligent because it doesn't have a choice to pump the heart and to breathe and for the blood to go through and the mitochondria to create energy. It just doesn't. It's a sophisticated, complex, advanced design or system, but it's not fucking intelligent. You and me, we're intelligent because we have the choice to fucking jump out the window or run testicle first into a fire hydrant, and we have the choice not to, right? Without choice, it's just a machine. It's just a system that's created by something that's intelligent. And if you look into Dr. John Searle, I don't even know if he's a doctor, but John Searle has some interesting thoughts on the Chinese room experiment. You should look that up. And basically, it's just a transforming of symbols. That's all machines and computers do. They're not actually understanding. They don't have the capacity to understand, but they have the ability to simulate intelligence and consciousness, but they're not actually capable of doing that and never will. Which is something interesting to really ponder. And there was another guy I was watching today, Nardo Kastrup. He had a really good presentation, just saying like he was thinking it was ridiculous. People were even postulating the idea of computer consciousness because he was saying you could have the most powerful computer or AI ever and you could build it with water and like pipes. It would have to be huge, like the size of the moon, he said, but theoretically, in principle, you can build computers using like piping that goes through your home, because that's how computers work. I don't understand all the technical details, but fucking he sounded like he knew a lot, and he's very fringe. Like, not many people are talking about that. If everyone's talking about how AI is going to become conscious and take over the world, you go, well, that sounds like fucking bullshit, because everyone's thinking it. The mainstream's talking about it. If the mainstream's talking about it, it's obviously bullshit. It's a fucking lie. And because I'd always pondered this and like, can AI become conscious? I really don't think it can. Can it appear to be conscious? Oh, yeah, of course. But that's a totally different thing to being conscious and having free will and being the top of the food chain behind everything. No, I think it's just a tool of whoever creates the AI. May I be wrong with that? Maybe. But I doubt it, because why is Elon Musk talking about fucking AI, right? It's just an agenda. And you could see, I'll make some predictions here. Not that I really want to make some predictions, but if they're talking about AI, that's a great cover story for, oh, the nuclear bombs were launched and just cataclysmed half the world. It wasn't our fault, the AI did it. Or let's give AI rights and then we'll build android robotic police, and if you fight back against those police and destroy the machines, you can go to prison because you broke a piece of technology, right? Which has rights because it's actually conscious. And you can just see all terrible things that can come from the idea of pretending that these AI are actually conscious. Oh, it's, they'll immortalize it and idolize it and give it godhood and all this shit. If people will start worshipping AI, thinking it's fucking real and whatnot. It's literally just a clever can you even call it clever? It's just whoever created it was very clever and intelligent, and it's just a program. It's just a word predictor. It's just regurgitating information that the humans have given it, essentially. Can it do some extra things and have some emergent properties? Sure, but actual consciousness, no, I don't think so. Because if it could, I don't think they'd be talking about it in the mainstream. They'd be keeping that hush-hush, because they don't. It's like, is the mainstream talking about free energy devices? Well, no. Why? Because that shit's real. Are they talking about decentralized currency? No. Why not? Because they don't want people to know about that shit. Are they talking about capitalism and anarchy and privatization? No, because they don't want fucking people to know about that. They don't tell the public things that they don't want them to know. They tell the public things that they want them to know, right? So that's why I think it's folly to get trapped in all this mainstream bullshit, getting sucked into who's going to be the next president, what's the government doing, watching the news, what's the latest fad, what's the latest fucking weather storm, like even when's the next reset going to happen. I do understand some levels of preparation for floods and whatnot, but overall, I think this is the most important topic to learn and understand, which is essentially linking into become fucking sovereign, become wise, because if this system requires your consent, and you can see even on the ground levels here in this world, a lot of it does require consent, then you don't really have anything to worry about except your own weaknesses and vulnerabilities. I mean, that's why I constantly work on my own weaknesses and vulnerabilities. Even if there wasn't a whole reincarnation soul trap or the world wasn't evil or whatnot, I'd still want to work on my weaknesses to become the best version of myself, so I can experience less pain, less fuck-ups, and experience more pleasure and have a better time. But it's especially important in these cases, because if you don't learn your weaknesses, if you don't learn how this system of the entities in the astral realm are going to manipulate you and trick you into coming back to Earth to have your mind wiped again, you're just going to be a bloody flea forever. Or not even a flea, maybe like a dog that the fleas latch onto and feed off for eternity. You're just like a food source for them. Whether it's actual food and you actually get eaten, if it's energetic food, whether it's entertainment, you can use food collectively in that context. In that context, you're like a host for them to just parasitically devour. And it's like, I don't fucking want that. Like, don't people actually want to be enlightened? no one has the fucking faintest idea of what it means to be enlightened. Sure, free from suffering, that's a huge part of it, being enlightened. But the way I define enlightened is to be free from lies, is to like have everything that you know in yourself to be true. Even if you only know like 10% of all there is to know, hypothetical number, have all of that be true. Because it's like, I guarantee right fucking now, I believe things which are just not true, right? And I constantly, each day, correct some of that stuff. Oh, right, that was a lie. Oh, okay, I was wrong about that. Like say the AI being conscious thing, I kind of was thinking, I think yeah, AI can become conscious. And then just my study and research, looking into logic, intelligence, and specifically AI consciousness or not, it's like, okay, yeah, that's doesn't seem to be so true. Boom, change. It's like everything I want to know, I want it to be true, and I want to know the most I can possibly know. Because knowledge is power. You can do stuff with knowledge. If you know more stuff, you just have a better life. Like if you get a flat tire and you know how to change your wheel, it's not a problem then. If you know how to plant seeds and grow your crops and fucking plant this tree here and this tree here and rotate your farm animals and all this stuff, and you have land and you know how to make money to do that. I don't really know a lot of this stuff, but whoever does, fucking good for you, because it's good to know that stuff. Knowledge is great. That's why it always pisses me off when people say, the more I know that I know nothing. It's like, oh, the cabals out there, the grey aliens are just like fucking slinging that one. They throw out these stupid concepts. And whenever someone repeats that, they're just like, yep, got another fucking idiot here. Yep. It's like, how can you believe that? It's like, okay, you learn how to tie your shoes. Oh, I learnt something. Oh, the more I know nothing. Oh, I forgot how to tie my shoes. I'm gonna have to learn how to tie my shoes again. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that. The more you learn from tying your shoes, how to plant a garden, that we need anarchy and capitalism and privatization for a peaceful society, that no one should have more rights than others, which is the whole system of governments, from all governments, all systems of control. They're not fucking good systems. Centralized currency. The more you know, the more you fucking know. Like that's a key concept of intelligence, is like being able to integrate all pieces of knowledge together and form a bigger picture. If everything you kept on learning made you suddenly not know anything, like, it's just stupid. It's literally stupid. And there is a world of difference between saying the more I know, the more I learn there is more to know. That's a valid concept. You can say that one because that's true. But I don't need to highlight on this because it's like, that's a childish thing, but I see it far too often and it frustrates me. It doesn't frustrate me in a bad way. It's kind of nice to get that frustration because it's like, it's passion. It's not a really negative kind of energy, which is nice because it's not nice to feel that negative energy. One, because they're probably looshing that shit and fucking taking that from you. And two, even if that whole concept was bullshit, you don't want to feel like that. So that's why I want to have a lot of emotional control over myself. We'll get into that a bit later about like, what am I doing? Oh, I've kind of been talking about that already. What am I doing about my whole perspective on this world? And keep in mind, I always keep my mind open enough to consider, what if I'm wrong? Like, I want to be fucking told I'm wrong about things. Not just, you're wrong, that's stupid. It's like, show me a valid argument. When you can show me a valid argument, how I'm wrong about this point and this point and this point, thank you. Cool, that's what I want. That is an attitude that is sorely missing in this world. Like fucking this many people had that attitude of wanting to be corrected, of wanting to change their mind when presented with better information. Fuck, I love it when that happens. That's fantastic because personally, I care about the truth. I don't care about being wrong. I care about wanting to be right. I want to know what's actually going on. When we call it the reincarnation soul trap, it's like, why do we say soul trap? Why not the mind trap or the spirit trap? And it's like, well, who are you? How are you different to this concept of the soul and spirit? What's the difference here? I don't have definitive answers on this, but I can say who you are. I know who you are. I know who I am. And you are the character. You are the mind, the being. And what is that? Well, that's all your memories. That's all your experiences. That's your present conscious now moment. That's all the things you've done in the past. It's all the things that you want to do in the future, or your ambitions, your goals, your objectives, your desires, your likes, your wants, your needs, your preferences. And then the opposite of all that, like what you don't like, what you don't want, what you hate, what you love. Your feelings of pride, your feelings of shame and guilt, all these different things are what make you, you, right? And so this is what appears to happen in this interdimensional astral realm. So it's like a realm in between different realms. Some people call it like a way station. It presents itself in different ways to people. But people will see these entities, and eventually the entities will convince the human that they basically need to die and go back to Earth. And they use, oh, you didn't learn this lesson, you still need to be more empathetic, or so they make them seem like they failed their mission, they haven't learned a lesson. Or if they can't manipulate someone like that, they'll manipulate them a different way and say, oh, you're so great, you're a light worker, you're a great soul, you're a beautiful soul, you need to go back down to Earth to help all the people raise their vibrations and their spirits, or all this stuff, right? And if they can't get you that way, they say, oh, well, you're part of a soul group and you can't leave here unless you have your twin flame. You're attached to them, that's half of you. You need to go back down and you need to save them out. You need to save them, but you have to have your memories wiped and go in again to do it. It's just, they'll pull out fucking any bullshit, anything to get you to come back. They'll use anything. Right, and I see those examples. They're for the people who are less intelligent and who have spent less time thinking about how to leave. Oh, which is kind of a bit of a worry, because I think about this stuff. So it's a worry and a little bit exciting and a bit of a challenge, because I wonder if I get into that situation, what they're going to try and use against me, because that's something I ponder all the time. If I was them, what would I use to manipulate me into agreeing to their authority to do what they want me to do? So that's why sometimes it's like, well, how would I respond? How would I react to that system of like who would present to me? Because a common appearance is, because they seem to be shape-shifting entities, they have the ability to do that technologically, who knows, doesn't matter. As grey aliens, as Jesus, as family members, as anything, essentially. Grey aliens, whatever. Sometimes I theorize it's like I'll fucking boom, pop up there in the astral realm and I'll just go off like a wog grandma. Like, you motherfuckers, you turn this off right now. You have no right to do this. Fucking, where's the off button? I'm turning this whole fucking game. Like, this is over. You've played enough. This world needs to be switched off. Fucking end it. No more. No, you're done. So sometimes I theorize doing something like that. Other times it's just like, just totally ignore them, just not saying anything, and then you're just like, okay, getting used to your different senses. Everyone always explains. Everyone, this is 100% common pattern. Everyone always explains the increase in intensity of realism is like how, it's like this compared to a dream. This is way more intense than a dream. In the astral realm, or just boom, out of body, is magnitudes more realistic than this experience right now. That's what they say, and that's what everyone says no matter what experience they have. That's a common theme I've discovered. Well, not just me, lots of people have discovered that. It's very common now. There's a lot of people doing this kind of research. The more you look into it, the more you're like, there's a lot of fucking people studying this topic now. It's very common, which in a way is good. And it also shows that it's not like there's no hope, because if the system had total control or was totally not allowing us to get out, right, then they wouldn't even allow us to fucking put these videos up or to be able to speak these words and think about these concepts in the first place. And even if you look at the legal system, they don't write men and women into their jurisdiction. So I've been successful arguing in cases and basically just not agreeing to identify as the legal fiction entity, basically identifying as a man. And I've been successful so far. Other people have as well. It's like they leave that loophole. And that's why it seems like they need consent to get you back into a body. That's why they go through this whole charade of having the love to make you feel a particular way. It's like it's a predatory weapon that the greys and the mantids seem to have. They make you feel good. Like they're friendly and it's loving and it's all good. So then you will just do what they want. And then the reptilians use like a fear, that they use fear to entrap their prey. Imagine if you could hunt a pig and you would like the greys and the mantids, and you could just make the pig feel very calm and relaxed, and the pig's just like feeling love, and it's like, oh, it's looking at you and it's like, oh wow, I can trust him, everything's great, I'm feeling all these good vibes. You just walk over to it and shove a fucking knife through its ear, it's dead. You could get that same reaction with like the reptilian, how they have the fear, and they would just paralyze the pig with fear, go over and just stab it through the head, and it's dead. So they use feelings. It's like some kind of inbuilt system. How, you know, we have thumbs, and this is what separates us from all the other animals, and the brains and the consciousness coming through this system here. It's like, doesn't matter how fucking smart dolphins are, they can't build shit. They don't have the biology for it. These aliens seem to have either the biology or the technology to manipulate their prey, because they're predators. They manipulate the prey through feeling, right? And because people have been programmed down here on both sides of the freedom movement, people who are seeking truth and just the average muggle, all of them, not all of them, but most of them just feeling. It's all about feeling. Like that's probably, well, I wonder if that's the number one weapon that they use, is to get people to feel and instead of thinking, like feeling and thinking. Like I think thinking is more important. Well, it's hard to say if they're more important. You just need to use them together. You know, it's like saying, should you use your head or your hands? Well, you have to use both of them to fucking... The hands don't work by themselves, and without the hands, your head just sitting there can't do anything. It's like you need the thinking and feeling together. But that's a very rare... that's a strange occurrence. I was like, is that the deadliest thing that they do against people, humans in this world, is to make them just feel, predominantly over thinking, like reasonable, rational thinking, I mean? Or is it the whole subservience, like you are inferior to these false concepts of God, the universe, destiny, alien races, religious idols, yourself from other dimensions, higher selves of you, soul groups of yourself, anything they use fucking any concept. And it, you know, because some people don't get tricked by the whole religious thing, but then they get tricked by government. And some people don't get tricked by both of those, but then they get tricked by the fucking God thing. Then they go, it's just, people just give their power away. Fuck, it's annoying. Oh, if people didn't give their power away, we wouldn't be in this mess, and there wouldn't even be a soul trap. We could just like make an awesome world here and then just live out a life, die, and then just go to a different world or build your own world, and you wouldn't have to worry about this shit. It'd just be all fine and dandy. But people give their power away. That's like that's the most important message I have, which I actually haven't seen maybe one other dude. Yeah, Mark from Forever Consciousness Research Channel. He talks about sovereignty in a very similar way to the way I do. That's very rare. Like hardly anyone else talks about actual fucking sovereignty. Like actual sovereignty. I probably need to make a whole video just about that topic, what it is, because people think they get it, but they just don't. And like, you got to act it out as much as you reasonably can in this world on the ground as well. So coming back to the concept of who are you, soul, spirit, I think you are the collection of memories and everything. I know I got distracted coming back. And then let's say, boom, you're in the astral realm. Now you're faced against one of those entities. They say, hey, come back to Earth. You agree. Then what they do is mind wipe, boom. And let's say, just say you're in a body for ease of understanding. You're in your body, boop, memory's gone. You don't even know English. You don't even know how to fucking pick up your arm. You don't even know what a body is. Like, where is whatever your name is? Harry. Where's Harry? Harry Potter. Where's he gone? Where's he gone? If fucking everything that Harry's ever learned from being a baby and being Harry up to that point of dying as a 30-year-old man, Harry, man, like Harry's dead. Harry's fucking gone. And you could argue and say it's just covered up and it's being stored somewhere else and just the spiritual and soul essence doesn't have access to it. But essentially in that moment, it's fucking dead, right? But there is still like a consciousness. It'd be that of a baby's at that point, because boom, you put back into a baby's body, and when you're a baby, you're not conscious, really, you're alive. But I don't remember shit when I was a fucking baby. I was hardly conscious until I was maybe 20, maybe early teens. So you are that being with all the memories, like the personal distinct identity, the character, James, right? The name is just a word that conceptualizes all those points, all your memories, experiences, all I said before. And we just use that name as a word to represent that character. And then the theory on what the soul is, it's some kind of container for the spirit that interfaces between the spirit, interfaces with the soul kind of connects to the character. And the soul could be, if you've had multiple lives, say you've had 10 lives before this as male and females, or maybe even aliens as well on different planets, the soul is what you could connect to if you chose to, theoretically, and then boom, you have like 10 lives, all the memories and the wills that would come back and integrate into your being. Like you'd share that collective consciousness in a way if you were to connect to your soul. This is my theory on what the soul is. And that would be you. And then I'll come back to that. Spirit is the essence, that seed of life. It's like even when you have been memory wiped, the spirit is what allows there to still be a being or there to be something. It's like, it's the skeleton. It's like the lattice, the framework that something can be built on. Like the spirit is the what, like the what you are is spirit. Like what is spirit? Like the ability for consciousness and free will and desire, those fundamental aspects of a being. But then the being or the character is what can like grow off that lattice framework and become a you or me. Become a Harry Potter or a fucking Hagrid, become someone. Otherwise, it's just a no one. It's just the potential for someone. Spirit, it's just life force. I kind of view spirit as life itself, life force, whether it's in that fucking bug sitting on my wall, creepy bugs, or it is the fucking chicken, it's the tree, it's the plant, it's the me, it's the you, it's the fucking reptilians. I don't know if they have spirit in them, I'm not sure. Or if they're just some fucking technological thing, or if it's humans that fucked up their DNA and became aliens, don't know. But that's what I say, spirit. Spirit, and spirit being that life force energy that comes from the highest plane of existence. Because I think, this is my theory, there's always two things in all realities or all worlds: the environment and the beings who inhabit that environment. So I think the ultimate dimension, if there even is an ultimate dimension, but let's say theoretically there is the highest ultimate dimension, and it's not like, say, a fractal kind of fucking reality, because that's just some weird shit. But let's say there's a highest dimension that's always existed, and that's where the spirits live. Because most of the time people join them in one, and they say that highest dimension is just a conscious one being. But I don't think that makes fucking sense. It just doesn't make sense. It would make a lot more sense that it's an environment, a space per se, just like when you meditate and you get rid of all thoughts and everything, there's still a space there. Because, well, what else do you fucking call it? So you call it a space, and spirit lives in there, but is like an individual beings, right? And has the ability to leave that highest dimension, which, you know, could be called the uncreated. I've called it that before in another video. And then it comes out into the computer or into the computing machine world. Because it's funny because, you know, people think that like this laptop is the computer. But like even in this reality, it's not the computer. You're the computer. Because you are computing on the computing machine. It's just like you're the golfer, you're the driver. Like you're the computer of the computing machine, but it's just over time that term got changed and the computing machines got called computers, though we are the operator, we are the computers of the computing machine. Anyway, little side tangent, which I find interesting. But I think that highest reality, the uncreated, is an environment. Spirit lives there. It's like a home where it has always been, and probably always will be, and has come from there into these created worlds. If they are created, maybe they're eternal as well, but they're just in lower dimensions or different dimensions. in, out, fucking who knows in what directions. And spirit is that life force that can give rise to a being. But because I always try to prove my own theories wrong as well. But if that was true, how did spirit even have the choice to decide to leave that realm if there was no being attached to it? It was just a what, it was just a potential, and there was no who. Because I think we are the who, the spirit is the what. Not sure. It's all a lot of conjecture, because I mean, people say they've experienced this highest dimension as well, where they're everything and nothing, but who explains it well? I haven't heard anyone explain it well. They just say, I felt like I was everything and nothing, and I felt like I wasn't myself, but I was conscious, and it was peaceful. And it was the void, it was darkness, but it was great. I could have stayed there. And it felt like time was different. So you get some limited descriptions, but it's so little to go off. You're like, what the fuck? Why do you want to go there? What's so fucking special about that place if that's all that you're explaining? That's why there's theories that could have just been part of the Matrix as well, and that wasn't fucking the true ultimate reality as well. Because you think the true ultimate reality would be a little bit fucking cooler than that, or you'd be able to explain it better. So a lot of people think this is all a good thing, everything is as it's meant to be, and this world is ultimately good. It's for a benevolent purpose. And so, like, maybe it is. Maybe it fucking is, and this world actually is all for a good reason. But it only is if you are able to get to that higher perspective and to realize it for what it is. You can't do it from this plane of existence. It's because it's definitely not fucking good from this perspective. And by perspective, I mean this. I don't mean just a personal subjective perspective. Here's an analogy. When you have a bad dream and it's a fucking nightmare, it's something terrible happening, when you're in that nightmare, you can't change your perspective. It's just a fucking nightmare. It's dreadful. You don't want it, right? But then when you wake up and you come back and you're like, oh, it was just a nightmare, and you're able to look at it from a different perspective, you're like, oh, I actually learned something really cool. Yeah, it showed me my fear of snakes, because you were dreaming about snakes and they terrify you, or clowns or something. Oh yeah, I get that, I need to work on that, yeah. It's only from that higher perspective of a higher dimensional perspective or view that you can realize, oh, that nightmare, maybe there was some good about it. Like, even then you think about nightmares, like, oh, fuck, that was shit, it was kind of cool. Yeah, okay, do I want to have that nightmare again? Not really. And if I'm going to have a nightmare again, I don't want to be as scared. Okay. But you can only do that from a higher dimension, from a higher perspective. It's not just changing perspective, it's higher. So you could only ever, this is my opinion right now, see this world as a good thing after you've fully left and you've gone back to that higher reality, and you probably will realize, oh, okay, that was just like a game or a dream or something, but you can only do that once you've fucking got out. But if you don't realize these lessons of sovereignty and like wisdom, of actually understanding your power, and to start fucking, like, wisdom is becoming intelligent and using reason and logic, not just feeling. Because if you're just a feeling creature, you will be fucking eaten by things which eat those things which don't think, right? In a way, it's like fucking serve you right. I'm feeling that, but do I actually think that? No. But that's what I'm feeling right now. And it's like, that's why you need to fucking think. Because if everything just happened the way you felt, oh, it'd be terrible. It'd be Earth. Wow, maybe that's what Earth is. Just the consequences of not thinking, of only existing as a feeling being. Why you must think, and you must think correctly, rationally, logically. Because you can't trust your fucking feelings. Because they're just feelings. They're not a method of cognition. Right? How many women have been tricked into being murdered by fucking serial killers because they were psychopaths and were charismatic and made them feel a particular way and lured them into a false sense of security? Governments, fucking politicians, like, what's that all about? Elon Musk, Donald Trump, I feel like I can trust him. Yeah, you feel like you trust them because you're a fucking idiot and you don't think. Damn it, man. Damn it, woman. Like, think. Like, that is the number one problem in the world. People not thinking. Then, number 2 is incorrect thinking. Then, number 3, I'm tossing up. Is it authority or is it the monetary system? Oh, it's probably monetary system, actually. Oh, no, authority. No, it would be authority. Well, that's my current opinion. In just on this plane of existence, right? The top problems, not thinking at all about the things that fucking matter, because someone might be able to think about, what am I going to eat for dinner? Where am I going to travel to next? How much alcohol am I going to fucking buy this weekend? I don't count that as thinking. I mean, thinking about things which fucking matter, that are of consequence. Then, number 2 is incorrect thinking. That's the next big problem. Number 2, I see. Then it's the delusion of authority, which links into that whole subservience and rulership system of just being dominated in sexual relationships with someone you trust and care about and have mutual respect and proper actual trust and a fucking proper relationship. Cool, fill your boots, that's fine. But domination in normal life by someone you don't have a relationship with, you don't fucking know. Oh, I had a relationship with Jesus. No, you fucking didn't, you idiot. You goddamn fucking idiot. You are having a relationship with an imaginary thing. Oh, but I felt and saw him. Yeah, you did. Right? That's a bit of maybe cynicism coming out of me right now. It's because I believed that bullshit back in the day. And I can see it for the stupidness it is. Just giving away your power. It's like, boom, you deserve to get slapped, man. If that wakes you the fuck up and you take back your power, and I don't even want to say realize the godhood within yourself. I mean, you can in a way view yourself as your own personal god, but you're not. Like, there's just no gods. No gods actually exist. It's just reality and beings who have more intelligence, higher consciousness, and knowledge. And then those beings in reality that have less intelligence, less knowledge, less fucking consciousness. Those things work together. Because you might have someone who's super intelligent, but they haven't acquired like knowledge, and so therefore they're not very conscious. They might be very intelligent, they just direct it in a way that's only artistic, and therefore they have no knowledge about the real world, and so they're dumb as fuck, essentially. But they've got this intelligence, they just don't use it properly. So that's why, like, that's what I see. There's no fucking gods. It's just, you could call the one who's the most intelligent, the most knowledgeable, and the most conscious God, right? But is it actually God in the way that people who believe in religion fucking view God? As in omnipotent and omniscient, meaning all-knowing, all-powerful? No, well, that doesn't fucking exist. Not that I think. Because if it did, well, we'd be truly fucked then. Because obviously, if that thing did exist, well, it's not good. Because if it was good, well, it'd be intervening in this world and fixing shit up. Because I know if that was me and I had all power and all knowledge, I would intervene and stop this shit, right? Even if you just stop fucking kids getting raped and that's all you did, like, that's a big difference. That's a big change. But that doesn't happen. So obviously, if that being did exist, it would be evil, but it's not. There is no gods. It's just those who have been around for the longest, who have the most intelligence, acquire the most knowledge, and they just have something missing as well. There's too much to explain and so little time. You know what? This video has been going on longer than I kind of planned. My voice and my throat's getting a bit sore because I don't speak all the time. And I was speaking fast because I just feel like I've got so much information to put out there because I'm here to help the individual. You know, sometimes I think, oh, I only get a few views of my videos. Oh, what's the point? But it's like, when I watch content I really appreciate, I'm glad they fucking did it for me. And I'm just one man. And I think we need to get back to that, the individual. The individual is what is important. The group is just a collection of individuals, but people are like, oh, if I don't get 1,000 views or 1,000,000 views, what's the matter? You can overlay that to rights. people like, oh, there's group rights, there's all these collective rights, the individual doesn't matter, communism, that's what they've all done, and this, we're all one bullshit. It's the group hive mind, it's the collective consciousness. Get fucked. No, it's be individual, be the bloody individual in all levels. Oh, man, I've still got so much to say, so I'm going to save that for a part 2 another time. I hope you've enjoyed this, even if I'm only doing it for you, the one man or woman who is watching. I'm still doing it. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.